last class. Let me start recording also. Okay. So as you know, we talked about that everyone is searching for happiness, right? We talked about, you can see my screen, right? Everyone can see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked about, yeah, let me go back, the book of life and everything. You remember, how to make right choices, uh,
Yes.
different mode of goodness. You know what? Let me go back all the way. Let me go back all the way. I think it's important we quickly cover. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we talked about that everyone is searching for happiness, right? And how they do it is it just varies, right? Some people, for somebody, a toy is enough. For a young boy, sports may give happiness, and then for some people, money or partnership, and then for older people, their grandkids give them happiness, right? And then we talked about the different modes, right? So some people are doing it by fashion, some people are searching for some thrill or sports, right? Daredevil acts. Bottom line is everybody's trying to find happiness, right? That's what we talked about. And then, so that was the way. The sports and thrill and all is called mode of passion, right? And then there is mode of ignorance, right? Mode of ignorance, you are smoking, drinking, or doing drugs, and some kind of crazy activity. Even some people think that they can eat a lot and that gives them happiness, but it ends up giving them bad health, right? So this is all mode of ignorance. Even sleeping, right? People think too much sleeping is good, right? On weekend, people would like to wake up late, so that's also in mode of ignorance. And we compared that if you just want to be on eating, sleeping, mating, and defending platform, then you are no better than animals, right? Because animals also have friends, they also have fun, they have family, and they also find happiness in doing the same things that we are finding happiness, right? So if we are doing these four activities just like animals, then there is no difference between us and animals. But what separates us from animals is the higher intelligence that we have. And that higher intelligence is to question, you know, why I'm in this world, what's my purpose, where do we come from, where do we go eventually, is there life after death, uh, what is the higher purpose of life. It can be just simply coming and learning some things and eating, sleeping, defending, and then just going away, right? So it has to be something higher than that. So we talked about that, and we also talked about how in animal form you can do things much better, right? Like a eagle can fly higher, the horse can run faster, the dog can sniff, and the elephant is very strong, right? The bear can sleep practically 6 months. The polar bear sleeps for 6 months during hibernation, and so on and so forth. So we talked about all that. And then uh, we talked about the problems that modern day humans have, despite having this intelligence, that they are full of anxiety, they are stressed, and above all, they are unhappy, right? So if only having all the modern gadgets and money and facilities were going to help us, then we will not have these problems. Actually, you will be surprised to know, but all the developed countries, so-called developed countries, North America, Europe, have higher cases of depression and even suicide compared to, let's say, poor countries or developing countries, in Asia and Africa. So that tells something about, money and all the things that we want. So anyway, we talked about that, and then we talked that in animals we don't see any riots, suicide, divorces, drug abuse. These are problems all that human beings have, and we have to, as a human being, we have to inquire about the higher principles of life, and also we have to make the right choices, right? Uh, an animal does not have the intelligence to make right choices, right? But we have the intelligence, so we have to make the right choices and make the best of our human form of life, right? So who am I? Does God exist? All these questions, what's the important thing in life, right? So this is what our intelligence is all about. Okay. All right. So with that, I will move forward and jump into this was the last slide that we talked about. Let me just make it slideshow again. Okay. Yes. Anybody wants to say something? Yeah. So we talked about, this was our last slide, and again and again we are saying that this is your real identity as a spirit soul. Our intelligence is driving the chariot, which is driven by the 5 horses, which represent the 5 senses of eyes, ear, nose, uh, touch, feel, all those different senses they are representing. And the these ropes are your mind, right? So even though our mind may take us to one direction or another, it's ultimately our intelligence which can control, right? So mind can tell you that, oh, don't study, just play video games, even though there is exam tomorrow, but the intelligence will tell you that, no, that's not a good idea. I should study now, and maybe after exam I can play the video game. So the intelligence has the ability to override mind. So a smart person is one who keeps his mind in check through the intelligence. And how we acquire intelligence is we will find out here, by reading the right books and by keeping the right company. So that's how we acquire the intelligence. Okay, so far so good. Everyone is with me. You were able to recall things. Anyone wants to say anything? Any questions or any doubts before we?
Yeah, I recall.
Okay, you were able to recall. Okay, anyone else has anything that they want to share before we jump into the today's session? Okay, all right, let's talk about it. So let's talk about the qualities, right, that we all have. What kind of qualities we have. So, you know, there are some qualities that we have which are innate to us. Oh, sorry, I'm going too fast. And then some qualities are that we acquire, right? So some qualities that we are born with, and some qualities we acquire by our surroundings, right? So let's talk about some of the bad qualities that we acquire as part of growing up or from our surroundings, right? So here are 3 categories, right? Simple, serious, and grave, right? So simple bad quality may be just, postponing things, right? Just not being very punctual, right? A serious bad quality may be, having anger issues or not being a good team player and all. And then the grave qualities maybe, when you gossip and, when you are not trustworthy and all. So these are some of the qualities that we can acquire. Now, we are going to do a test here to find out what kind of personality are you by answering some simple questions. So basically, there are 3 personality types. One is mode of goodness, one is more mode of passion, and one is mode of ignorance, right? So anyone wants to tell me what is happening in this first picture here, where this man is putting his hand on another person? Can anyone tell me what's happening here? Go ahead, Sid.
Um, the guy is like he's like congratulating some other guy. And can I
Right.
also share what's happening in passion and ignorance?
Yeah, go ahead. Well,
In pat
hold on, Sid. Sid, hold on. Sorry, some other people raised their hand, so I have to give another
Okay,
also. So that's okay. Okay,
okay, that's fine.
Devan, and then Nikita. So Devan, go ahead. Sorry, Devan, and then
The
Nikita.
passion.
Yes, passion. What is happening in the passion?
The guy in the back is really screaming at someone's ear, trying to make him stop doing something or make him stop working.
Or maybe make him do something faster, right? Maybe there is a deadline to finish, so he has to do something, right? Okay, excellent. Nikita, go ahead, Nikita.
For ignorance,
Yes.
he's ignoring his work.
Yeah, he looks like he's depressed, right? He looks depressed or sad or something like that, right? So so basically goodness. So let's talk about it. It's very important to talk about these qualities because this will help you understand what is coming up. So basically, mode of goodness, it's also called sattva guna. So this is the Sanskrit word sattva, right? Being in purity, right? So some examples maybe when you help somebody, right? Especially unconditionally help somebody, right? So let's say you are coming out of school and there is a kid who fell down and he has hurt his leg and he's not able to get up. Now you don't even know that kid, but you walk up to him and you ask, hey, what happened and do you need any help, and you somehow help him, right? And maybe you will never meet that kid again ever, so it's not like you are expecting something in return, but you helped him regardless, right? So this is an example of an activity in Satuguna, right? Um Also, feeling compassion, right? Let's say far away in Asia or Africa, let's say something really bad happens and people are suffering. So one reaction can be like, what do I care, I'm here very comfortable in United States. Whereas the other reaction can be, oh my god, these people are suffering, this is really bad, I wonder how can I help them, right? So to have that reaction is very natural, right? To be concerned about people even though they are not going to benefit you directly, or it won't matter in your life, but just having that goodness, right? That's what we call being in mode of goodness. Also speaking truth, doing charity, uh, you know ju- uh, following a routine properly, always following discipline. These are all some examples of mode of goodness. Now, mode of passion is where you want to, for example, earn a lot of money, you want to become rich, or you want to control everyone, you want to become boss of everyone, or you want to own a lot of property. Basically, you want to be the boss of everyone, right? By either earning money or getting a lot of power or becoming famous, right? Like, like all the movie stars and sports stars, like how much fan following they have, right? So that is also kind of mode of passion because they like it, they like the attention, right? So these are some examples of mode of passion. And then the mode of ignorance or tamoguna is like not even knowing what to do in life, right? So for example, you wake up at like afternoon, you go to bed at like, I don't know, 3 o'clock, 4 a.m. in the morning, and you wake up in the afternoon, right? There are people like that, believe me. Even you have not met them, but there are people like that. Or engaging in like criminal activities, right? So like stealing or robbing people or whatever, gambling, all these things. And one wonders, why do people do these things when the cops will arrest them and they'll go to jail, right? I mean, don't they understand that this is not a good way of living the life? But people still do it, right? Because they are in a mode of ignorance. That's what they think is the way to live the life. So these are some examples of, and also you doing drugs or being intoxicated, alcohol and all too much, always being under influence of something. That's also an example of being in the mode of ignorance. So I hope it's clear. Any questions here before we move on, because this is very important for
Uh,
understanding. Yes, go ahead.
uh, I might just stop for a second, but and I missed the mode of passion. What was examples again?
Mode of passion is when you want to become boss of everyone, right? You want to control everyone. either by getting a lot of money, by a lot of power, a lot of fame. So all those are examples of mode of passion. Okay. All right. Sid and Devan, you want to say something? I see your hands raised, or is it raised from the last time?
Actually, mine is both.
Okay,
It's
yes, Sid,
raised.
go ahead.
So like in the ignorance part, what if you don't do anything bad, but you still don't know what to do in your life?
Yeah. Yeah, it's still ignorance, so because, so for example, like some people who could not go to school, right? Or who did not have a stable family, or their parents didn't take care of them, and also, so it's unfortunate that they don't know what is right and wrong, and they are in the mode of ignorance, and because of that they do certain things that they should not do, but still it will be considered ignorance, right? I think I have talked about this example where you go to a country where there is a law and you are not aware of that law and you break that law, and you can't go to the court and say, I did not know there is a law like that. So the law has to be followed, right? Can I break a law and say, oh, I didn't know it, there is a law, and will the judge be sympathetic to me? Said, do you think so? Probably not.
Most likely the judges don't really, I don't think like judges really care, and they'd still arrest you even if they like say that even if they say that even if you say that you didn't do it.
No, even if you say you did not know it, right? So you can say that, I was not aware of it, or sorry, I just found out. So that's what I'm saying. So, a good example would be, I don't know if you have heard, there is a US sprinter in 100-meter women's team. I think her name is Shakira something, this girl, she's just 19
Security
years old.
Richardson.
Yeah, and she was first, right? In the trials, US trials, actually, she was sure to win a medal in Olympic. And sure enough, it was found she consumed marijuana, right? And even though marijuana is not considered a performance enhancing drug, but still it is one of the intoxicants that you're not supposed to take. So she got just 1 month of ban, but that 1 month of ban is enough to, dash her hopes in the Olympics. Now she's not picked up in the team. So this is an example of being in ignorance, right? Even though you are so good and you have this ability, but you do one small stupid thing, and that ruins your career practically. Now imagine she'll get opportunity after 4 years, and who knows if she will be able to perform as well as she's doing now after 4 years, right? So it's unfortunate and it's sad, but these things happen around us, right? So
Yeah.
hopefully she gets people who can guide her and, give her good advice, right? That's what you hope for, and she comes out of it. We hope so. Okay, let's move
And
on. We
I
have a
also
lot.
have another question from the beginning, like when we were reviewing last class thing.
Okay, Sid, can you hold on till the end? Because I have a lot of material to cover. How about we discuss? I will give 10 minutes in the end to discuss. Okay, is that
Otherwise, can I
okay?
just type in the chat and then you can answer it?
Yeah, sure. Type it in the chat. Thank you. All right. Okay, so moving on. As I said, these are some of the examples of mode of ignorance. So you can find out your personality type. I hope none of you in this mode. I know you are all in mode of goodness, maybe a little bit mode of passion, but just it's good to know that what constitutes the mode of ignorance, right? So that's this. We talked about it. This is mode of passion. This example is given is lion, right? Or the business person, or people who are into rat race, always trying to beat everyone, or people who are envious of others, right? Who have bossing tendency, and I think we again talked about it this in detail. Okay, and then mode of goodness, right? Here is a cow is represented here. Cow is in our culture, in Sanatan Dharma, in Hindu Dharma, she's considered like a mother, because she gives the milk, and we all drink her milk. And from milk, so many good things are made, right? I'm sure you all like the sweets and the paneer and the yogurt and dahi, and so many things, cheese. So cow is considered very sacred and very, very important animal. Also, she's very peaceful and loving and kind. So she embodies all these qualities that are being talked about here, right? So yeah, let's take a moment to read through this. And I'm sure you all have most of these qualities, and the ones that you do not have, you should all aspire to develop those qualities, right? This is the mode of goodness that we all should aspire to be, so that we can uh, find out more about God, right? So this is very, very important. If you want to learn about God and develop a relationship with God, then you have to be in mode of goodness. It's very important. If you are not in mode of goodness, then it becomes very difficult, because then your mind is preoccupied, right? If you are very competitive, or if you are jealous, or if you are angry, then you will not be able to focus, right, and concentrate on knowing about God. And what to talk about mode of ignorance, then if you are intoxicated, or if you are completely in ignorance, then it's not possible. Okay, so we will learn more.
I mean, the hippies returned by Prabhupada.
Sorry, what is that?
The hippies, Prabhupada and the hippies.
Yeah, exactly. So Arush is giving an example. I don't know if you know about the history of the Hare Krishna movement, but it was started here, right here in America, by a saint who came from India in 1966, and that was the time of the hippie movement. I'm sure you have heard about the hippies. The people with long hair, and they left their homes and they used to do drugs and all kinds of things. So anyway, the hippies were dissatisfied with their life. They were also looking for higher principles or higher meaning, but they just didn't know the right way. So they were doing drugs, and they left their homes. They were rebels basically. And then this Hare Krishna movement, the founder met them, and he taught them how to find the God in the right way. Okay, and that's how this moment was started. Yes, Sid, go ahead.
Yes. Can you go back one slide?
Sure. Yes.
And was there? Can you go back another slide also? Okay, I'm
Yes.
good now. Wait, what animal is there on that slide? I just need to know about the animals there. That's it.
I don't know. It looks like a fox or something. I don't know. You guys know more about animals. Either a fox or a
Coyote.
hyena.
Jackal or coyote.
Coyote.
One of those animals who are very shrewd and cunning and very, the ones that we don't like. Like they won't pray, and they will.
Definitely a fox.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
one of them.
coyote.
Okay. All right. So let's move on. So now we have a little exercise for all of you. Okay. So here is a guy. He sells these hats. Okay, and he had his basket full of hats which he was gonna sell, but he fell asleep. Okay, and under the shade of a banyan tree, and there came a bunch of monkeys who stole their hat, and they are not giving him. So what would you do, right? So if you are in that situation, if you are the cap seller, what would be your reaction, and what would you do, right? So give me an example of each, like being in mode of goodness, being in mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. Anyone? Oops, sorry. Anyone wants to answer this? Come on. 3 participants. Okay, who raised the hand? We had Nitai. Yes, Nitai, go ahead. And then Mahika. Yes, Nitai.
I can tell of the
Speak a little loudly, Nitai. Speak a little bit loudly. Come closer to the mic.
I can tell for the mode of goodness that he will think from a cold mind without getting mad on the monkeys.
Yes.
I've heard this story, so I know the solution.
Okay, excellent. So he has to think from cool mind, not getting angry. But what that can be, we will talk about it in a minute. You know what that approach can be. Mahika, you want to go next?
So I would basically in that moment I would kinda don't know what to do because the monkeys stole the hats and I basically just think a way to try to negotiate with the monkeys if that was possible.
Yes. So that also comes in the mode of goodness, right? Okay. Who? Okay. How about Nikita and then Devan?
So someone with the mode of passion, I think he would yell at the monkeys and then chase them.
Yes, absolutely. Or try to pick a stone and throw at them and getting angry. Good job. Okay, Nikita and then Dhruv after that. Nikita. Okay, how about Dhruv and then Ashi?
I would just be good and then just let them take it and then just make new caps and then just sell it to the people.
Okay.
Because it's not gonna. I'd rather not like chase after animals because they were made by God, right? So then you might get chased by
Right.
God
Okay.
and cursed.
Okay. Okay. Ashi, go ahead, Ashi.
A mode of goodness would give them bananas and make.
Yes, so
Um,
that is one solution, right? That and I think Nitai also said that you have to think coolly what to do, right? And somebody else also said that. So for one example, maybe you find something to give them, and then they will return your cap, right? So okay, I think that's good enough. So we saw that, right? So yes, anyone else?
You said I would go after Nikita.
Sorry, Devan, speak loudly.
You said I would go after Nikita, so can I go?
Yes, please go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I think in a mode of passion, he would yell to all the monkeys and ask him to probably give them all back and maybe come up with a rude way to get the monkeys to give it back.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So mode of passion, you will get angry. In mode of ignorance, you will try to hurt them with a stone or something, or punish them somehow. And in mode of goodness, you will try to somehow negotiate by giving them something, because obviously you can't chase them. You can, the only way is to just make them give it somehow. Okay, excellent. So this is a good exercise. I'm glad you all
But
understood it.
mode of spirituality, the one above all modes, they probably, forgive or talk to the monkeys or something. What would like a yogi do or something?
Yeah, Arush, we are not there yet. We will talk about it. Let's move on to the next slide. So far, we are just discussing this. We have not gone there yet. Okay, so here you can see we have three circles representing the three modes, right? And most of us, so you can see there is like a intersection, right? So I don't think anybody is completely in one mode or other. Most of us have majority of one mode and then minority of other two, right? So this is kind of showing, right, that this is so in the mode of goodness there is an enlightened soul, right, who's very peaceful, very calm, very nice, right? Here mode of passion is like a businessman, who wants to earn more money at any cost and very competitive and be successful. And then here we see that it's lawbreaker. So majority of people have a combination of it, right? I mean, we all make mistakes. We all have our bad days, and sometimes we get angry. Also, it's nobody can say they never get angry. So majority of the people fall in this category, but the idea is to increase more of this yellow circle in life, right, and reduce these two. Ideally you should have none of this, but I understand it's not possible, so there will be still some part of it. And then of course, as far as mode of passion is concerned, it can be used in a good way also, right? So the competition is not necessarily a bad thing, uh, because it helps you improve, right? But it becomes bad when you are obsessed with it, right? So for example, I'm sure you all like to get good grades in class and everything. But then your goal should not be only to get the grades. Your goal is to get knowledge and learn, right? And enjoy. Also have fun while doing that. Your goal is not to get good grades at any cost. And even this leads to cheating, right? I'm sure you have all that experience, especially in this online era where we had the, because of Zoom classes and all those classes, even people were sharing answers and messaging and all that. So unfortunately, those bad things come because of too much competition or trying to get good grades at any cost. So, okay, I can see a lot of people are interested in talking about this. Okay, Mahika, what do you want to share?
So like, so are you trying to say is like some people get too carried away of trying
Yes.
to get the best grades and not and forget of learning and like having
Yes.
fun?
Having fun, yes, it happens. It happens. And I'll tell you guys something, it's very important. Nobody asks you, like when you reach my age or even younger, when you when you will go for a job after completing your college, nobody would ask you how much you got in your fourth grade or fifth grade or sixth grade, or doesn't matter. What would matter is how did you do in college, and most importantly what you bring to the table, right? What you know right now, it matters. So right now it may seem very important to you, but later on in the life when you will look back at it and you will say, oh my god, I was unnecessarily obsessed with this. It really doesn't matter. But what would matter is the things that you learn, the friendships that you made, the fun that you had, not that this, oh, I have to get this one extra mark at any cost. That won't matter, believe me. Anyway, Dhruv and Arush and Sid, quickly share. Okay, we have a lot to cover. Quickly share some.
So
Whatever.
yeah, so when at my school when we were doing some certificate ceremony, everyone
Right.
was thinking that I was cheating because I had all A's, and then
Oh,
and everyone kept on saying I was cheating until I actually said that I was not cheating. I was just being fair, and then they
right.
kept on just saying I was cheating. I don't
Yeah,
understand people now these days.
yeah. So good point, Dhruv. So it can lead to envy also, right? So some people will consider, they may hate you, right? It's unfortunate, but it happens, right? If you have all A's or whatever, they will say, oh, how is he getting in? They will think he's cheating or whatever. Okay, Arush, quickly, and then we'll move on.
How can a thumbstick person be a leader if they're, slow and efficient and lazy?
Yeah, so Tamasic person is not a leader. They are saying a leader is a Raja Rishi, who's noble leader.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's not a leader. This is a lawbreaker. That's what they're saying. Okay, all right. So now let's talk about the things that boost the mode of goodness in us, right? So as I talked about, we should have love and compassion and devotion, right? So if you have a friend, you should be devoted to that friend, right? You should be believe in true friendship, not like use and throw kind of friendship, or okay, what is in for me kind of friendship. It should be really, you should help your friend no matter what, right? And then we need to study the books that teach us this wisdom, right? And also find application. So this class is an example. Just the fact that you all are here, it shows that you are all in mode of goodness because you're attending this class. You could have been doing anything right now with your time, right? There are so many choices to make, but you made a choice to come here. That means you are in mode of goodness and you want to learn about this. Okay, chanting and meditation. So this is how many of you know about the Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Just raise your hands. Have you heard this Mahamantra? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. How many of you? Just raise your hand. Sid, Arush, Mahika, Pranjal, of course, Nitai, Samik. Okay, yeah. So this is a mantra. Devan also has heard. And then there is a Gayatri mantra, right? I'm sure your parents must have taught you the Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam, right? So all these mantras are very important because they give you good vibrations, and we will find out in a upcoming slide, and same way meditation, so meditation is when you try to calm your mind, you sit down in a position and just try to control your thoughts. So this is chanting and meditation. This also helps in developing mode of goodness. And then of course diet and exercise. So it's very, very important to eat the right food stuff, and also exercise, right? So we need to, I know these days it's all about, you all are studying a lot, and there are video games, and there's TV, but all these things are affecting your health also, right? So and your age, you need to go out and play or do some activities, right? Not just sit all day in front of TV, and sit all day in front of class. Unfortunately, last year was this online school also, so I'm sure a lot of you ended up spending like 8 to 10 hours in front of a computer or TV, whatnot. So you need to exercise, you need to eat the right food, because those things also, if you do not exercise, that makes you lazy. If you eat too much junk food, that kind of makes you slow and lazy. So all these things are very important: eating the right food and exercising. And then environment, right? So we talked about having good association, just like we are having it right now. So it is said a man is known by the company he keeps, right? So you need to keep in the company of the good people, right? Just like if you want to uh, get good grades, or you want to know how to get good grades, you would like to hang out with the kids who get good grades, right? Or if you want to become good in sports, you want to hang out with the kids who are good in sports, right? It's but natural. So same way, when you want to know about God, or you want to know the higher principles of life, you would like to hang out with people who have knowledge of that, or who also have the similar aspiration, like how we are doing in this group today. Okay. Now, there was a research done by Harvard University which talked about this mantra meditation. So we talked about the Hare Krishna mantra, and or any other mantra, how it helps you, right? So this is, Harvard University has nothing to do with Hinduism or our culture. So this is a neutral research, and it's a very prestigious university. So what they said was, they talked about your brain wave frequency, right? So basically this is the range. Okay. I don't know. Yeah, it's cycles per second basically, but up to 8 cycles per second is kind of sleepy zone, drowsy, zone. So this is what is defining mode of ignorance, right? When you're intoxicated, or when you're under the influence of something, you are in this zone, right? And anything above 13 is hyperactive zone, right? Where your mind is too disturbed, you are too stressed, you are too restless. Sometimes I'm sure you have all experienced that you're not able to sleep at night when you go to bed. Mind is constantly thinking, and sometimes like for an hour you are just restless, going from one side to other. So this is happening because your mind is too hyperactive, it's not calm. So what they found out is, when you meditate or when you do mantra meditation, it puts the brain into this range, which is 8 to 13. This is called the relaxed alert zone. So ideally, you would want your mind to be in this zone, because when you are in this zone, you are less likely to be angry, you are less likely to be sad or depressed or any of those negative things. You will make good decisions, you will feel happy, you will feel healthy. So this is our goal. So this is a proven research, right? That mantra meditation leads to relaxed state of mind. All right, any questions before we move on? All good so far? Okay, excellent. Okay, now another exercise. I know we love to do exercises. So here is an exercise to find out what kind of time manager are you? How do you manage your time? Because how you manage your time also determines the kind of personality that you are. Okay, so let's find out. Are you a plus time manager, or you manage your time well, or you are not a good time manager? So let's find out. So a plus time manager will plan, then actually do the things, and also interact with people, right? So these are the three activities. So not only you have to plan well, you have to execute well, And while executing, you may need to interact with people. So you do the interaction also well, right? So, so here are the different styles of management, right? So if you are doing all the three things perfectly, where you plan well, you do well, and you interact with people well, you are a balanced person, right? Whereas if you plan well and you execute well, but you do not really like to talk much to people, or you are an introvert, or you want to be left alone, right? Or you are too focused and you say, okay, just leave me alone, then you like to do your own things well. So you may be a good individual player, but not too sure about how you will do on a team setting. Maybe you will not do very well in the team setting. Now, you may not plan well, but you are good at doing things, and also you are good at social interactions, right? So what this means is that you are not capable of planning very well, but if somebody else plans for you, then you will do a good job uh, working there. So you need, so in this case, you need to partner with a, let's say you are doing a project, you need to partner with somebody who's a good planner, because with that, your team will be successful. And here you plan well, but you do not do well, right? So there are a lot of people who will make set goals for themselves. Oh, I want to do this year, like New Year resolutions, right? This year I want to do this, or I want to learn this. But when it comes to executing, they are not able to execute. And then they are good at interaction. So they are good people. Their heart is at right place. It's just the execution with that they struggle. So have you seen this kind of personalities around you, or I'm sure I'm sure by now you have guessed which kind of person you are. Have you seen that? Anybody? Okay, so let's see here. So now this will give you ideas, you know. So if you just plan, right, and you do not actually execute anything, then you will be called a daydreamer, because you just plan, right? You don't execute. Okay, now I see raise of hands. Who all are there? Okay. Nitai, sorry, not Nitai. Mahika, go first. Mahika?
What did you ask? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
No, did you want to share? Have you seen examples of this around you, where people who are, some are very good planners, but not good at execution, and then some are, right? I'm sure you have seen. So this is defining the personalities. Okay. Yes. So Sid, you want to share something? And then Arush, you go next.
Oh, no, I didn't need to share anything.
Okay, Arush, you want to share something?
That's pretty
And
much
then,
me.
yeah, so then unraise your hand when you're done asking question, because I don't know if it's from the last time or this time. Dhruv, you want to share something?
Yeah, so I have a couple of friends who like just dream around and stuff like that during class sometimes because,
Yeah,
they're kind of bored or something, but
yeah,
yeah, I have seen it happen.
right. So whereas, if you are only, you're not planning and only acting, right? Like there is also this category of people who are always busy. But if you ask them busy doing what, then they don't know. They're just busy because they're busy, like a busy bee, right? So that is also not good, right? Being like you're always doing something, but what is the output? One would ask, what is the end result, right? And then there is a third category. These are popular people, right? I'm sure every class has people who are popular, right? Who are friends to everyone, who are very nice to hang out with. But they are poor at finishing things, right? They may not be, you know, whatever, very good at studies or delivering, but they are very nice people, right? Yes, okay. Looks like more people. Yes, Kabir, go ahead.
I would say that I'm more of like a mix between, like, sometimes I'm a daydreamer, but then sometimes, like, when
Yes,
there's something I really want to do, then I become more of a workaholic type.
yes. I think we all, nobody is in one category. Believe me, we are all a combination of it. Okay, again, hands. Devan, go ahead, Devan. You have something to
Well,
share.
I have seen people around me very friendly. I think it was in third grade probably. People are friendly, but some people are they're just poorly at finishing.
Right. Yes, you are right. You're right. Okay. Mahika and then Dhruv. Real quick. We have a lot to cover today.
So I'm actually like combined with all of them because like
Yes.
I'm daydreamer if the classes like I'm very bored with, and
Yes.
but then I'm also workaholic sometimes. Like if it's almost like one of my like an AZ merit, it's something our school does.
Yes.
We
Yes.
have to do that quickly, so I have to study very fast before that. And then I'm also sometimes like this is sometimes I'm also a people friendly but poor at finishing work. This is pretty rare for me.
Yes. Excellent. I'm glad you are all sharing these things because this tells us that we are all going between these different things, right? Nobody is in one zone. And as I showed you in the Venn diagram, you remember the three circles, right? So we are at the intersection of three circles. So ultimately, we have to increase that mode of goodness with the realization that we are not there yet and we are a combination of a lot of these things. Okay, Dhruv and then Sid. And those who have asked the question, please lower your hands so that helps me find out who's asking. Dhruv and then Sid, quickly. We have a
I'm
lot to
pretty
cover.
sure a lot of people would agree with me. So, for example, when you really, really like a class and you're just like really like it a lot and you just get so many good grades with that class, then that'd be when you're workaholic. And then when you're just like really, really friendly after you have like a really good day or something like that, some things then
Yes.
like you'd be really, really friendly and then you forget about doing your homework or something. And then a daydreamer is when you're like something like I don't know if this is everybody, but when you're like in math class and you're like, this is so boring, then you like dream about stuff or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, it happens too. And there is nothing wrong with being a daydreamer, believe me, because um, that's how you get ideas, right? You all are very creative and your brains are growing and you are learning new things. So there's nothing wrong with being daydreamer. The problem is not executing your plans, right? You may dream, but if you don't execute, that's the problem. Okay, next, Sid, quickly, and then we will cover a lot of stuff to cover. You have
Um,
something?
just basically that I'm a mix of I'm rarely a daydreamer, but I'm mostly people friendly.
Right. Yes. Yes. And it's a great quality to be people friendly. There's again nothing wrong with that. But it can be that you are only friendly and you don't get anything done. I'm sure nobody would like such a team member. Like let's say you have a team and you have to finish a project. So this guy he gets along with everyone and he likes everyone, but he doesn't get anything done. So you will say, dude, I know you're nice, but you have to do something, right? Okay, Mirna, go ahead.
Can I just finish what I was gonna say first?
Yes, go ahead, Sid, quickly.
But I'm not that people friendly, but I'm friendly. But I'm also kind of workaholic also.
Okay, excellent, Sid. Yes, Mirna, go ahead.
So, I would say most of the time I imagine myself doing a lot more work in a day than I actually end up doing because it takes me longer than usual. I'm
Yeah,
more like people friendly and social, and I'm good in a group. If there's a team project, I get it done very easily, but sometimes I just imagine myself doing more than I do, and sometimes I get lots of work done.
yes, yes. It happens to all of us, right? Sometimes we overpromise and we are not able to finish it, but that's all right. This is all part of growing and learning. So I'm glad you are all sharing and learning more about this. Okay. So anyway, we got this. I think you all understand this, that when you have more of this but not of this, then you become a daydreamer. And so ideal situation is when you have three pluses here. But again, as I said, that is ideal and that is something we should aspire for. Okay. And you definitely don't want to have three minuses here because that is not good. Nobody wants to be around
Okay.
such. Okay. All right. Now, something very important, right? So, how you manage your time decides your happiness. So, what they're saying is that there are four hormones that are released, right? actually that are not released because the time we are spending with media gadgets. So all these phones, smartphones and tablets and video games and all these things are actually doing some harm, right? So the dopamine is the feeling we get when we get sense of completion, when we accomplish something, right? So that is the hormone is called dopamine, right? The next one is called endorphin, when you feel healthy and joyful. Then there is serotonin, which we get when we help somebody selflessly, right? Like I talked about helping a kid who got hurt or raising money for some charity or something. And then oxytocin, when you feel a social connection. Now, again, this is not just social connection on Facebook or Instagram or whatever you have, the Hangout or something like that. It's actually on uh, uh, having on real association, right? So unfortunately, due to people spending a lot of time on gadgets, we are being deprived of these hormones. And this is what is leading to stress and anxiety. I mean, imagine if Facebook was bringing, the social media, making the social interactions better, then why people commit suicide, teenagers and youngsters and so on and so forth. If Instagram, sharing your pictures was making you happy, clearly it's not, right? There is something missing somewhere, right? Or texting, right? All the time you're texting and chatting, but none of that can replace a real person to person interaction, right? So that's what gives us social connection, right? And whatever you do virtually, right, it's not enough. So we need to, devote time. We need to find time for having real meaningful interactions with people. We should find time to do something, some volunteer work or some charity work, uh, like for example going to food bank and packing lunches, or going somewhere and just helping. That gives you this hormone. And then of course feeling a sense of completion. And again, as I said, it should be real task, not just some virtual task. I don't count winning a level in video game as this. Of course that gives you some completion, but it's not like uh, doing a small project in your home or building a Lego. Building a Lego I would count as, yes, it gives you a sense of completion. Okay, Sid, I know you have some question, but I will keep it. Just hold on a minute. I have to complete some slides. We don't have much time left. Um, just give me 1 or 2 slides and then I will answer your question. Okay, you may have to stay back for me to answer your questions today. Okay, so let's move on. So we need to understand that the important concept for time management is these 4, right? So there may be things that we have to do right now, right? For example, there is your air condition goes bad, right? Imagine in this summer, if air condition goes bad, you have to get it fixed right away, right? Or you have a deadline to submit an assignment. You have to do it right now. You can't say I'll do it later. So that is this quadrant of action. Then there is quadrant of quality, where you have time to plan, right? So for example, you can plan to study for your exams, or you can plan to do things in a certain way. So this is the most important quadrant. This is where we should spend a lot of time. And then there is these 2 which are not important and they end up wasting time, right? So for example, just mindless browsing on computer, or just phone calls, unnecessary phone calls, or unnecessary chatting in your case. What is that app called, Arush, which your generation uses a lot? I forgot the name.
Discord.
Discord, man. Discord, the name itself tells it all. It's Discord. Why not Harmony? It should be called Harmony, not Discord, right?
Yeah, I guess
Sorry.
so, maybe.
So people spend so much time
Discord
on
is
Discord.
13 plus.
Sorry?
Discord is
Sorry.
13 plus.
I know 13 plus, but there may be others. So my son is 13, so I'm saying, but I know some of his friends were using before 13, right, Arush? So who knows, right? So what I'm saying, and it can be some other app, but people are spending so much time on these text messages, and I don't know what they're typing, what they're saying. Why can't you just pick up a phone and talk, right? So we need to avoid these things, right? These two quadrants, 3 and 4, are not important. So this is very key to time management. So ideally we should plan things, we should have a schedule, we should have a process, a method. And then of course there'll be every once in a while some things will come at you, which is like crisis and deadline and breakdown. So you do those definitely, but try to avoid these two things if you want to manage your time well. Okay. Wow. Okay. So some raise of hands. Yes, Kabir, go ahead. I think we'll have to end here and we'll come back next time.
Uh,
Yes, let's talk. Kabir, go ahead.
So for example, like I know like before this pandemic, I used to have like a lot of real life interaction at school, but now
Yes.
because of this pandemic, it's kind of difficult to like, you know, do that much in person, especially because like the schools are only at like half capacity.
Yeah,
So I mean, in that situation, I mean, the only option you really have is to use a device.
I know. No, I understand. Last year has been very difficult for everyone, and I know you all have done great coping with it. It's very stressful. It is very sad that the time you missed out, but I hope from this year things get better and you get back to your normal routine and more personal interactions. Yes, Ashi, and then Sid, and then Mahika.
When COVID-19 started, it was my birth. Well, it was before the week of my birthday, and I wanted to celebrate it with my friends, and I couldn't do that.
Yeah, I know. It's so sad, right? No birthday parties. It has been really hard. Hopefully, we'll put this behind us soon. Okay, go ahead, Mahika, and then Sid.
The thing is, I'm kind of happy of that COVID happened because I learned a lot during the pandemic that I never would have learned if there was no COVID.
Right.
And
So you're saying, yeah, there is a positive side also of this tragedy, right? That it gave you opportunity to learn things, right? Okay.
yeah, and it's basically this is like a world, it's like something you have to remember your whole life. So it's kind of cool being in it. Like, because this is going to be like a worldwide, like something going in history.
Exactly. So you are saying it was like a historical event that happened. And even though it was very unfortunate, we learned also a lot of things. Yeah, great perspective, Mahika. Thank you for sharing. Sid, go ahead. And then who else?
Um, I have a question like from the beginning
Yes, let's
that I
answer
forgot
your
to ask.
yes. Ask question. So by the way, we are coming at the end of the hour. So those of you who want to drop off can drop off, but those who want to stay are welcome to stay. I'm going to answer some questions here. Thank you for your time. Hare Krishna. I'll see you next time. Okay. But those of you who want to stay, please stay. Yes, Sid, go ahead.
Why do people commit suicide?
Yes, that's a great question. And I'm glad you asked it. So basically, people get into a state of mind where they feel helpless, they feel disappointed, they feel sad, and they see that there is no hope of getting out of that situation, right? So, and they feel like nobody can help them, right? They will not reach out to their friends, their parents, their teachers, or anybody, right? So they think like nobody can help me. I have nothing to look forward to in this world, and it is too painful, and that's why I want to end my life.
Then
I think this,
people just think of committing suicide themselves for no reason then.
that, and sometimes they're bullied. Unfortunately, there are incidents where kids are bullied and they end up taking their life. So it's not like it's always coming from inside. It's always sometimes also the external factors which are contributing to it. So I think the important point is having a system, a support system, right, where you can ask questions, where you can seek help, mental health counseling, or where you can talk your emotions to somebody. I think majority of cases it happens when they are not ready to seek out help, when they are having those bad feelings, either from inside or somebody else caused it. I think that's what happens there. So the key is to, that's why that social interactions are so important. You need to meet people, you need to have you need to have a good communication channel with your parents, your siblings, right? You should share your feelings, good, bad, whatever you're feeling. You should always share your thoughts and discuss, right? That's very important. When you stop talking to people, when you just go in your zone, and that's when these things happen. Okay. Anything else, Sid?
No.
No? Okay, Kabir, you have something, and Dhruv, you want to share something? Go ahead.
Yeah, so actually I wanted to answer the depression thing. So actually, the suicide thing, well, suicide can actually often come from a feeling of depression and like just no feelings at all, where
Mhm.
someone just naturally becomes too stoic, such that they don't feel happiness or sadness. And
Right.
there's just this overall, it's not sadness, but it's a sense of long-term gloom, right?
Right.
Where I mean, it's just like you're just dragging on with your life. There's no excitement to life anymore. And often,
Mhm.
sometimes people will say, why am I just dragging on myself? I don't feel anything. I don't get any happiness out of this. I don't get any sadness. There's no friendship, no feelings of love, nothing. So then they
Just
decide
have.
that it's just maybe they should
Yeah.
just end their lives. And often,
Yeah.
and the biggest contributing cause I'd say to that is, lack of social interaction, because friends will often be there to kind of change your mood
Yeah.
up a bit, and they can help
Yeah.
you feel feelings of friendship.
Yeah. And your family too, right? Your family is a very important part of it, right? Okay, Dhruv, you want to share something before we end?
Yeah. So so isn't like people also feel kind of they want to commit suicide because they just think that their life is they don't want to, it's useless to live because how people for example they would get cheated by somebody, like by
Yeah.
someone for like money and stuff like that,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then
That happens. That
they
happens.
just get so angry about that and then they just commit suicide.
Yes. I'm glad you brought this up, Dhruv, because I know a lot of teenage. How old are you, Dhruv? 13?
12.
12? Yeah. So I'm sure you must have heard a lot of young kids and teenagers and young adults are doing this trading these days, right? Online trading, Robinhood, and all that is going on, right?
Yeah.
Cryptocurrencies and all that. So one kid, he committed suicide. He was on Robinhood because he just lost a lot of money. So, and it was, so this is what happens, unfortunately, right? So you need
Mm-hmm.
a support system, and also you should be doing right things at the right time, right? You can become a trader and a businessman at, like, this is too young to face those kind of ups and downs, right? The stock
Mm-hmm.
market is very volatile, or the cryptocurrency market. So while you can learn about it, but you should not be start investing money, because it will disturb
Mm-hmm.
you too much, right? If you lose money, you'll be too sad, right? So we have to be careful, but yeah, that happens too. Thank you for sharing that, Drew.
Bye.
Okay, bye everyone. Have a nice rest of your weekend. We'll talk to you all
Bye.
next. Hare Krishna.